This view over the Strathearn River Valley in Perthshire, Scotland, shows an area which has been described both geographically and historically as being right at the heart of Scotland. The Strathearn Environs and Royal Forteviot, or SURF project, aims to map the development of this area as a Pictish royal centre through the investigation of patterns and episodes of landscape use which reach far back into Scottish prehistory, with the purpose of shedding light on the factors which contributed to maintaining this area as a political and spiritual hub of activity throughout the centuries. During this tour, we will investigate the very first stage of activity on this complex site, allowing an insight into the interpretive process undertaken by archaeologists to reconstruct past activity. We begin here, to the south of the modern Forteviot village in Perthshire, where aerial photography first revealed a series of crop marks forming the remains of a vast complex of Neolithic monuments, the largest and earliest of which was a palisaded enclosure some 250 metres wide. Among the largest prehistoric monuments ever constructed in Europe, palisaded enclosures are typical of the late Neolithic in Britain, dating to around 2700 BC. Although comparisons to the Forteviot Henge can be drawn with other excavated sites, relatively little is known about these massive ancient monuments. During the August of 2007, excavations were focused here, on the entrance to the palisaded enclosure. Archaeologists from Glasgow and Aberdeen universities uncovered post holes which would have once held large oak posts, dating between 2800 and 2600 BC. Based on the average width and depth of these post holes, site directors Dr. Kenneth Brophy and Dr. Gordon Noble believe that the timbers would have been up to 6 or 7 metres in height. During the course of the excavations, it became apparent that the shape and size of each post hole was unique, and not all of the timbers would have been large. This led the archaeologists to conclude that the monument would have been far more irregular and organic than previously thought. Furthermore, evidence of a tree throw, a feature left behind when a living tree is uprooted, was discovered in line with the avenue, suggesting the presence of a living tree within the monument. So, let's take a look at how the site changed over time to leave the traces we find today. We have established that the timbers were large because excavations uncovered evidence of deep post holes and ramps used to lower the timbers into place. By digging down through the stratigraphic layers of these post holes and tree throws, some charred and carbonised material was uncovered, suggesting deliberate burning. We can begin to imagine what the enclosure would have looked like as it gradually faded away in the landscape, through ceremonial burning, as suggested by the presence of cremated human remains in the post holes, and inevitable rot and decay of the timbers. Today we are left with the mere traces of what once stood on this site. From aerial photography to excavation, archaeologists can begin to piece together this once impressive monument and theorise upon its appearance. But activity on the site did not cease with the destruction of the timbers. Within the massive enclosure, aerial reconnaissance and excavations in 2008 and 2009 have uncovered the existence of a series of later, smaller earthwork and timber henges. Given the nature of the excavated finds, which include more cremation deposits and evidence such as feasting and ritual deposition, from comparison with other similar monuments in Britain, we can imagine that this site was largely ceremonial in function. Clearly, this area remained a ritual hub of activity for a significant period of time, from the Neolithic right through to the Late Bronze Age, as in 2009 a 4,000-year-old kiss burial was discovered, revealing the final resting place of a significant individual. Interpretation of this site is still ongoing, and this reconstruction is by no means the end of the story. Future work on this site aims to further investigate the complex of henges within the large palisaded enclosure and shed light on how the site changed over time.